So the date today is 18th of April 2020, and 2 days ago the UK government announced that we will be going into a strict lockdown procedure for another 3 weeks. Now, there's a lot of people, we saw that this was definitely going to come. You know, it's not really too much of a surprise. I even called it 2 weeks ago that the initial 3 weeks was not going to be long enough, and we would definitely be seeing a much more prolonged phase for our lockdown. But obviously, for myself as a filmmaker, all of my work comes in a two-part structure. Part one is I go out and I film it, and part two is I sit in and I edit it. Now, for the first 3 weeks, the sitting in and editing part was fine, because I had lots of stuff that I was able to sort of get back on track with. Now, after these extra 3 weeks sort of come into play, it makes it very difficult to keep busy as a filmmaker, because once you've actually finished doing all of your edits, it seems like there isn't much that you can do. But I'm just here to tell you that there are plenty of things that we can be doing to keep ourselves occupied, and I'll just take you through some of the things that I do to keep myself occupied, and hopefully you can take these outside of the quarantine section and use it once we're all out of lockdown, and, you know, hopefully change your outlook on what you can do with your free time. So number one is to manage out the days, weeks and the months. Obviously, as filmmakers, we should definitely be managing our time very effectively. You could even break this down into the hours of the day. But I found when I was first starting out as a filmmaker, I wasn't able to block out the time very well to start with. So I knew what days I would go and shoot, but the days where I'd be back at the studio or back home editing, I wouldn't be able to manage my time very effectively. And it turns out that there was way more efficient ways that I could be using my time. So what I did was I got myself this. So it's a tiny little whiteboard with days of the week on it, and all it does is just let me know what I'm gonna do every day. So I'll, on Sunday, write out something to do every day. It'll obviously change depending on priorities of work and such things like that. And when I sit down at my desk first thing in the morning, I know what I should be doing that day, and if I have finished the work already, I know I can move on to the next day to get a head start on myself, or I can use that time to, you know, do some other things which we'll mention on the list. But while we're in quarantine, I think it's very good to do something like this so it doesn't make the days blend all into one and make it seem like it's gone by very quickly and we haven't actually used our time very effectively, because it's very easy for other people that aren't in our industry to be assigned work from their corporate company. It gives them a bit more of a structure to go off. For filmmakers, it's always a difficulty to give ourselves a structure, and it's down to us. So now more than ever is a great time to practice putting yourself into a structure, especially for home editing. The second tip for you is to clean and organize your kit. This also comes down to charging batteries. I know it can be a very mundane task to make sure everything is all charged up properly. I know especially at the end of a long day shoot, say 14, 16 hours, the last thing I want to be doing is sticking batteries on charge. But if I did do it, it'd make it a lot more easier for myself the next time I do want to go on shoot. I haven't got to think about spending a full day in which I could be relaxing or doing other work. I'm constantly swapping in and out batteries and charging them. Another thing is also cleaning your kit. The lenses that we use are very fragile bits of equipment, and they deserve to be treated with a little bit of care, and they can pick up dust very easily. And now would be a good time to, you know, get them polished, get them a bit nicer. I know I don't clean my lenses enough than what I should be doing, really. I maybe do it once a month if I'm lucky, but before quarantine we're out shooting an awful lot, so it's just something that you don't really think about. So yeah, it would also be a good time to invest in a cleaning kit. You can get them on Amazon for £5 to £10, if that. It's always a worthwhile investment. It's not going to be the last cleaning kit you ever get, but it's definitely something you should always have in your camera bag, and if you've got that now is probably the perfect time to get it out, dust off the gear, you know, clean out that bit of mud from the tripods that's, you know, from that day you were shooting in the field, clean those lenses that you've been putting off doing, just maintain everything, anything that's maybe you've got screws missing from certain base plates and stuff like that, replace it. A bit of maintenance and a bit of care is going to go a long way now for the future when we do come out of lockdown and we're able to go shoot again, and we've got a kit that's nice and dusted off, and any niggly issues that we might have had with it before have all been taken care of because we've taken the time to address these problems. This next point is very important because even though we're stuck indoors, it doesn't mean that we can't hunt down for new clients. Right now, everyone is in the same position. We're all stuck at home, either working from home or we've got no work to do. So it's not like we've got anywhere to go or anywhere to be, and it's very difficult to get a hold of someone right now. It's probably the best time to be able to get a hold of someone because they're going to be sat at their desk. They're going to want to have something to take their mind off not doing anything. So make sure that you use LinkedIn very efficiently. Instagram is also a great one to basically act as a free showcasing platform for your clients. If you are unsure about how to go about hunting down clients on things like LinkedIn, I'll put a link in the top corner now for a guy called Kingsley. He does a free webinar. It's about 45 minutes long that you should definitely check out, and he does extended courses on how to consistently land clients. There's some amazing advice in there for how to actually hunt down your clients. I definitely use these techniques now, and I always, in downtime, I'm trying to search for the new bit of work, because remember, after we get out from this lockdown, us creatives that have managed to come through the fire and be able to carry on making films after all this lockdown, it's going to be very beneficial to have made contact with these clients before we came out of lockdown, because they're going to know your name, know your face, and everyone's going to be needing marketing after this, because the economy is no doubt going to be taking a hit. So it's a great time to get your name out there, show how creative you are, show that you're still working and you're willing to work, and when everything is lifted, hopefully you'll be able to land some work straight off the bat. This next tip is very important, because just because we're stuck indoors doesn't mean that we can't learn anything new. I've definitely taken this tip on board because I've not been very good at doing effects and After Effects, and that's something that's always very sought after in the creative industry. As filmmakers now, we're expected to have well-rounded skills in every single field, and visual effects is something that I'm not very particularly good at. I'm still not particularly good at, but I've been using the spare time to look up YouTube tutorials. There are platforms that you can obviously learn specific skills from, great teachers, and there's things like Skillshare and other platforms like that. If you have the money to be able to invest in something like that, I would go for it, but if not, there is so much amazing learning materials on things like YouTube, and where you can definitely put skills into practice, even making little things. So I made this little thing from After Effects. I know it's nothing special, but it's something, and hopefully I can build from these skills from here, which I never thought I would need to, because there are plenty of people out there that are much better than me at it, and there always will be people that are much better than me, but there's no excuse for not being able to learn a new skill while we've got this much free time indoors. Another 3 weeks, hopefully I can learn something more for my filmmaking portfolio. Even though I just work with people in the building industry, it doesn't mean I can't learn some new skills to then take on board for once we come out of lockdown. Now is the perfect opportunity to round off your skill set. And the last thing that you can be doing as a filmmaker is very simple. Film something. Since being in lockdown for the 3 weeks, I haven't actually filmed many things. The only things that I have been filming is stuff for my YouTube channel, but nothing to flex creative muscles, to practice shot technique. And the little sequence that you saw at the beginning, it was inspired by a YouTuber called Gevirtz. I'm probably butchering that completely, so apologies if I am, but I was inspired after seeing a video or two by him on how to film yourself to, you know, dust off the lenses and actually get back to practicing some shots and filming. You don't need an awful lot. And he says it best, all you need is camera, tripod, and that's it. Even if you're not filming yourself, if you've got pets and stuff around you, just practice filming. You know, we shouldn't get lazy now while we're in a lockdown sense, and not being able to film stuff and say that we're limited as creatives. We constantly say that there is no limits to our imagination. So just because we are limited to go inside our house doesn't mean that we're limiting our imagination at all. I'll link down below Danny's channel because, you know, he does some great tips on how to film yourself. I'd definitely go check out those 2 videos that he's done so far, but he's just a great YouTuber as well, so you should definitely consider subscribing to him. I hope this video has inspired some of the filmmaking community to carry on creating. I know times can be really tough right now. We're all struggling to survive financially and get through this, and it can be very dark to see what's at the end of the tunnel because it seems like there's no light right now. As long as you can keep a positive mind, and I know that's much easier said than done, we'll definitely all get through this together, because if we can overcome this, then I'm sure we can all definitely overcome anything. So please consider subscribing, and yeah, thanks for watching. I am gonna sneeze. Okay, I think it's gone. Yep.